Well, hello then, I do hope you're all well. Now, will Arrogant Liz Truss defeat the anti-growth coalition? Now, I don't normally do this sort of thing because I just think there are far better people, with far better channels than mine, who do this far better than I ever could, but here goes. I'm not going to dissolve your ears with a utter drivel of nothing. I'm just going to say what I think and what I feel. And all I heard was a babble of buzzwords that had no substance, a vacuous noise that had no evidence of 12 years of Tory achievements. She just threw us bones of the past and bones of a future to chew over, with not a scrap of meat on them for us to feed off, and taking no responsibility for the last 12 years of this Tory government's austerity, and not even an ounce of any celebration of any Tory successes they've accomplished. It was just 20-odd minutes of nothing, wasn't it? It was just an attack on imaginary enemies and a cavalcade of contradictions and slogans about growth. Or it gross, never can tell. But clearly, no plan on how she's going to do it. By hook or by crook, we shall have growth. Even if I don't have the backing of my backbenchers to get it through Parliament. And also, Dizzy Lizzy, how are you going to grow economically when you've left the biggest global free markets on your doorstep and you're wanting to shred all these EU rules and regulations to a market you want to sell to? I think we can basically all say she's just talking out of her arse, isn't she? There was no contrition to the people who had their lives shattered by her and her Chancellor's antics, over the last couple of weeks. And then she had the brass neck to tell these people, I'm on your side, waving her arms around like C-3PO and crack. People, like first-time buyers, they've had the rug pulled from underneath them, and she couldn't even bring herself to apologise for, what herself and Kamikaze Kwantang did. You try saying that after 5 pints. But don't worry, folks. We're all right, because she will grow a pie. Her screeching handbrake U-turns were so ludicrous even Lewis Hamilton would have struggled to have clung on to her coattails. Her nonsense about standing up against the PC Brigade, and then spouted on about her experience of sexism at the hands of an airliner. You're either against political correctness, or you're not. She then spouts on about her upbringing in Paisley and Leeds, being downtrodden by political correctness in the 70s, in the 80s, and maybe quite possibly in the 90s. And let's be honest, political correctness wasn't really that bad. And it certainly wasn't, weaponised as bad as it is now. Because, in them days, you might say, oh, you can't say black sheep anymore, or you can't call it a blackboard anymore, when it really wasn't that bad. She then spouts on about her nonsense about smashing the militant union, but then, at a hair's breadth, talks about wanting to lift people up who has aspirations. See, the thing is, Dizzy Lizzy, people who are on strike are striking because they have aspirations and are wanting enough money to live on and try to help not only themselves, but their children's aspirations as well, you complete and utter bell-tap. The only aspirations, let's be honest, she wants to lift are the ones earning well over £150,000. And in other words, I'm all for aspirations, plebs, just as long as you're happy when you realise that your aspirations will never come to fruition. You're part of the anti-growth coalition if you're not happy about it. The imaginary enemy that doesn't exist, but we'll use it in culture war strategy at the next general election because, well, we have nothing to show for the last 12 years, so, again, she's just talking out of her arse, isn't she? She spouted on about wanting women to be or feel safe on the streets. Yeah, it's a good one, totally agree. But there's no substance how she's going to sort out the log jams in the courts, the lack of police and so on and whatnot. And then spouted on about how wonderful it'll be to be able to get an appointment with a GP within 2 weeks. And if it's more serious, hopefully You could get one within 24 hours. And all the complete morons, from who frequent the golf clubs, they all just shit all over their hands, hollered and cheered, and then started clapping. I'm doing sexy dance with Mike, but never mind. So as I'm now speaking to you, from the Anti-Growth Coalition West Yorkshire branch, I could have talked about her ridiculous walk-on song and nonsense about being the first Prime Minister to go to comprehensive school. Her made-up enemies, wherever they are, from the BBC, to people who are gluing themselves to roads because they're lefty do-gooders who think we should insulate our homes, right up to like us on whatever social media, and also those protesting about fracking and a broken manifesto pledge. But I and yourselves, clearly we don't have a couple of days to spare, do we? So, as your CEO of the Anti-Growth Coalition, I think I'll just finish off with what a low bar. Well, it wasn't just a low bar when they were celebrating the fact that she didn't muck it up. She didn't fall over, got all the words in the right order, and she didn't fall off the stage. Yes, they're celebrating because she got through it without much of a hiccup. What a low bar. Jesus Christ. But anyway, I shall leave the video here until the next time. I shall bid you farewell and take care.